Alright, today we're going to talk about upgrading the 2010, 11, and 12 suspension to the 13 and 14 suspension. So here are your part numbers. These are the front springs, rear springs here, and then these cushions come with the struts. I believe 2 of them. I don't think the rears have these. Front, right, and left are different part numbers. And then rear are the same. So, here's the documentation on why and what and all that. So, you can just read this on your own. I'm not going to read this. You can just pause the screen or whatever, or find this PDF, but basically, the only thing we're not changing is the rear bushings. They probably just changed the durometer of the rubber or some kind of, composition of the rubber itself. Characteristics of the bushes used. So the actual arm itself probably wasn't changed. It was just the rubber. So ensure stability and response. The highlights there. So the front shock, here's the differences on that. Basically, the spring has been changed, and the damping force has changed. And here's the actual graph of it. Now keep in mind, 2008, 9 suspension is different from 10, 11. 12 is different from 13, 14. And then the rear, similar concept there, just slight tweaks. Here's another cheat sheet. So, more improvements to turn-in response and dynamics. Revised, so 2.5% softer front springs, 13% stiffer rear springs. Yeah, that's about it. So increased ride comfort during low piston speed motions, and the 2013 IS-F rear shocks may well be the only ones in the Lexus lineup without rebound springs. So a few reasons on why I'm even doing this, because 2012, 10, 11, 12 suspension is generally considered good. So reason number one, nobody can really say or describe what the differences are. So who has driven a 2012 and then a 13, they can actually describe that on paper, what the differences are. Two, if you can run 10-second quarter mile, if that's your thing, on stock suspension, what's the point of going to coilovers? The Lexus stock suspension is obviously tuned well and made purpose built for performance and comfort. So what's the point? What are you going to gain other than a harsher ride or bouncy ride or whatever? 3, resale. If I ever sell the car, I can say, hey, this basically is a 2013-14. It has a suspension, and then in a later video we're going to do the power steering ECU, which is a similar concept. It's underneath the battery. And again, just final revisions to the last model year 2013-14 IS-F that just tweaked it, made it a little bit better. So I don't know if I'm going to do a video of the actual process, because it's literally just taking out the old parts, and if you know how to change suspension and struts and springs, then you don't really need a video. But maybe I'll do one just comparing old parts to new. See if there's any actual physical differences, or the colors are different here, or whatever. I doubt it, but just to have a 2-part video. So typically you can't upgrade from like a 08, 09 to the newer version. There's a lot of differences in the rear suspension setup from when they changed the facelift or whatever you want to call it to the newer 2010, 11, 12 version. But we will see. I'll drive this Again, before I do the suspension, so I can kind of give a better, because I haven't driven this since, I don't know, last year, late last year before it snowed. So I'll give a basically comparison before and after, so people in the future can actually have something to go off, whereas I just had to say screw it and I bought all the parts. So that's it. We're just looking for more refinement and using stock parts, and then obviously I can resell my old parts and recoup a lot of this cost. So there's really no downside other than the initial investment. So that's it. Stay tuned.